I have tumbled up here 50 rounds of IMI 223 brass. This is going to be my first time depriming and resizing 223 brass, or any rifle brass for that matter. I've got my die taken apart. I've cleaned it all out with parts cleaner to get all that stuff off of it they put on at the factory. So what I'm going to go do now, Hornady recommends with their dies that you lube them up with case lube. It just says shake well, it doesn't give a time. There we go, get the straw out. I was having a heck of a time getting the straw into the canister here. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a shot. There we go. It actually sprays pretty nicely. On the inside, try to get all the excess off. I guess it dries in about a minute and leaves a good, oh yeah, leaves a good residual lubricant on there. I can feel it. So we're just going to let those dry for a minute, and then I'm going to put this die back together and we'll get it set up. In the meantime, I'm going to set these aside in the nice little Hornady die case, and I'm going to lube up some shells. I'll probably do 10 at a time. I've got 50 cases done, but I'll just do 10 at a time for now. And we're going to lubricate these. They have been tumbled with the Hornady one-shot brass polish, but as far as I know, that doesn't really lubricate, so. Okay, and I'm going to come out from the other direction. And we're going to roll. About a half turn. Now it does say to try to get a little in the case mouth, so I'm going to do a stroke from that angle. Hopefully it gets a little bit up into there. And I've got some on this towel too. Alright, those seem to be good and lubed up. I'm going to let those sit for about a minute to dry, and I think I can probably put together my sizing die. That lube seems to be dried on there pretty nicely, so I'm going to put the sizing die together. It'd help if I put it in from the right direction. I'm just going to spin this down because it's easier than pushing it on. Okay, I'm just going to see. That expander is integrated into there, which is all new to me. Okay, I'm just going to screw this down until, okay, it firms up about there, so I'm going to back this out. We're going to leave about 3/16 out of there, and what I probably need to do is get a wrench. That looks to be 7/16. It is right, I guess. That shouldn't push around on me. Okay, so I'm just going to do this how I think I should. Then I'll read the instructions. How about that? Oops, I've got to find my... There we go. Lock and load bushings. This is the set that came with the press. Alright, I'm going to screw it on to about... Well, let's go to right there, just to get it in the press. And we'll get our number 16 shell holder. Somebody please tell me why they always package these with a 1x1 square of cardboard. Haven't figured that out yet. Alright, our number 16 shell holder, which works nicely. Pop that in the press. Okay, raise the ram. Oh boy, here's where I always run into trouble. Try to get the lock and load bushing in place without having the locking ring down, which is where I run into issues. Okay, there, it's in place. I'm going to run this down until it touches the ram. Okay. I'm going to give it just maybe an 1/8 turn of cam over. Alright. Now I'm going to read the instructions and see if I did it right. So this set of dies has an identical set of instructions, almost, to the one that came with the pistol set. So these cases are good and lubed up. I've already got a shoulder dent in this one. Let's see if that comes out. We're just going to work this slow because, like I said, I've never done a rifle case before. Oh. Well, that was easy enough. Surely easy enough. That went a lot smoother than I expected it to. I've gone ahead and I've gotten 50 cases ready. It's at this point in the video I realize I should insert a note about trimming the brass. Now, I have a whole video about setting up the Frankfurt Arsenal case trim and prep center to get this brass ready, and that's exactly what I did here. There will be a link in the description to that video, and if you want to go back and watch that afterwards and see how I got the brass all prepped and ready, go for it. I'm going to prime them up, but while I prime them, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I'm going to do. I don't have a chronograph yet, and that is probably my biggest hurdle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a recommended load from Johnny's Reloading Bench. I've gotten so much information from that guy. I highly suggest checking out his YouTube channel. If you're watching my reloading videos, chances are you've already seen his. But I'm going to go with 26 grains of Varget. And that is even below, it's just a little bit below the load that's on the Varget bottle. I see 223 Remington 27.5 grains with the 55 grain. That's what the Spear soft point we're going with. We're going with Bob's Full Metal Jacket bullets. We'll talk about Bob's bullets more in a minute here. once in a while I find primer pockets that won't seat. So I'm just setting those aside. And I will swage the primer pockets on those. Okay, I started repriming this IMI brass, and some of it's priming just fine, but some of it's not. So, for that purpose, because it is, oops, they are staked cases. See that there. I've got this RCBS swager set. It is at this point in the video that I realized while I was going through and editing it that I have 10 minutes of video dedicated to getting this primer pocket swager tool set up and get all of these cases swaged and primed. So I'm going to have a link in the description to a separate video about setting up the RCBS primer pocket swager tool. And you can go there and watch that if you want, but I'm going to skip that for now, and we're going to get to the rest of the reloading 223 brass, because it is completely possible you may be watching this and you don't have brass that's military crimped, so you don't need to swage your primer pockets. Anyway, we'll continue. We have got 50 cases. Primer pockets swaged, primer seated. They're trimmed to length. They're trimmed to, what did I say, 1.750. 1.750. It's time for powder. I'm going to be manually measuring each one. I'm not going to use the powder measure this time. Like I said, we're going to be using Varget. Dump some in my bowl here, and dump some in my powder trickler. Now I have verified that this scale is pretty darn accurate with trickling powder, but I've got my balance beam scale set up and zeroed. To measure, it's set to 26 grains, which is going to be our charge. Okay, our electronic scale is on and zeroed. I'm going to be using a 9mm case as a powder scoop because I don't really have anything better. I guess I could go upstairs and get some scoops from the kitchen, but we're going to make do with this. Okay, 8.4, 18. Once I get to about 25, okay, that's 25 and a half. I'm going to trickle it in. And I see what people have said about this Hornady trickler. It works just fine, but it's so light it scoots around on the bench. Probably going to have to get some like rubber feet for it or put it on a block of wood. Okay, there we're at 26.0. And I'm going to double check the charge on the RCBS balance beam scale. And wait for it to settle down. Yeah, we are right on the money. And that charge of 26 grains. Let's see if we can get it to where you can see on the camera. Let me get a light. There we go. You can probably see that. 26 grains comes just about to the top of the shoulder. Each time I put my pan back on here, I'm double checking the zero because I still don't fully trust the electronic scale. Just gonna measure a couple out for you to see here, and then I will get back to you when it comes to bullet seating time. It's 25, 26.0. Six, 7, 8, 9, 26, 0. Alright, that's probably enough seeing the powder run. I will come back to you guys when it's time to see bullets. I decided that 50 cases might be a little ambitious for a first run. So, I got 25 cases powdered and ready to go. Doing a visual inspection here. Make sure there's powder in every case. Okay, there it is. Oh, here's my bullets in this box over here. Now, I was kind of disappointed that the Bob's bullets came in this flimsy cardboard box. There's 1,000 bullets in here, and they're in this plastic bag, but I kind of wanted something that they would sit a little better in. Oh, let me set this aside for a minute so I can get this in frame. Alright, so I'm going to get this big old heavy bag of bullets and dump out about 25 of them. I believe I paid $83 for that on 223bulkbullets.com. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, there's 25 there. Pretty dang sure there's 25 there, so I'm just going to feed out here. But first we got to get our die set up. So let me get that here. I want to give it just a little bit of a crimp. But not much. Okay, I'm having trouble getting this loose. I already put this on here, and I can't seem to get the no, and of course my wrench isn't big enough to fit on there. Did I tighten it down? I didn't think I tightened it down, but I'm gonna loosen it up anyway, just to be sure. I cannot bust that loose. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to screw this out a little bit. I'm going to screw that way out. Okay, to set up this die, and I read the instructions ahead of time this time, which is probably better. I'm going to screw both the bullet seating stem and the die out. Okay, this case does have powder in it. I guess I could let me use an unpowdered case. I'm going to use a primed, unpowdered case to set up the die. So I'm going to bring the ram all the way up and screw the die down. Screw the die down until it... Oh, and I don't have my lock and load bushing locked in. They're really handy for changing things in and out, but when you're getting things set up, they're kind of a pain in the butt. See, this kind of floats here. Oh, let me see. Wish there was a better way to do that. I really do. Okay, screw the locking ring up. That's just set in there. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to make sure. Yep, it's going into that floater, right? Okay, I'm going to screw it down until I meet resistance. Right there. Okay, now, since I do want to crimp, I'm going to let this down, and I'm going to go about a 1/16 turn more. Okay, an 1/8 of a turn would be here, so a 1/16 turn would be here. This is kind of hard. Let's go just right there. And I'll lock it down. Okay, and I am actually going to tighten it. Okay. That gives me just a little bit, should give me just the tiniest bit of crimp. I don't need much. Don't need much at all. Better not seat a bullet on there because this is a primed, unpowdered case. Okay, I will seat a bullet though on a powdered case. Okay, chamfering it like that makes that bullet sit down in there really nice for going up into the die. Okay, so I'm going to raise that up into the die. Okay, no seating yet, so I'm going to screw the seating stem down. Loosen my lock ring here. Okay, I'm at the bullet. I was just barely there. Okay, so I'm going to screw this down a couple turns, and I'm just going to go in. Yeah, we're still a little long. I'm using the cantilever as kind of a visual. Screw it down a little more. Almost there. Screw my lock ring in. Okay, let's start taking measurements. According to the Hornady manual, we want the case overall length to be... Oh, never mind. We're not going by the Hornady manual. We're going by this right here. This is my data from the video from Johnny's Reloading Bench when he was talking about setting up for Bob's bullets. We're going to go to an overall length of 2.215. Make sure this is zeroed, and it is. 2.239, so we're a little long. .222. We don't have far to go. 7 thousandths. And you probably can't see this on the camera, but there is just a little bit of the cantilever sticking out there. 2.216. Do I want to be greedy and chase that extra thousandth? I'm going to try. Seems a little ambitious. I've got the slightest little mark on the bottom of that case that's making it stick in the shell holder. 2.2155. Okay, we're going to stick with that for now. I'm going to get the next case. Okay, that one didn't have any resistance. .220, and that's a little... Oh, our primer might be protruding just a little bit. I'm going to set that aside and try another case. That one sits better on there. 2.219. Yeah, 2.219. Let's go down a little more. Don't know why that first... Oh, I bet it's because of the that mark on the bottom of the last case. Probably went a couple more thousandths there. 2.214. That'll be fine, but I went just a little short, so I'm gonna set that one aside as done and back it out just a little bit. I'm checking again. I'm paranoid that I'm gonna get a squib load, so I'm checking every single time I handle the case to make sure it's got powder in it. And it does. And they all do, but I'm gonna check again anyway. .21555. I'm gonna go with that. We'll check one more, and then I'm just gonna run through all of them. Oh, 2.215. 2.211. I don't know why that one went short. Maybe an irregularity in the bullet. But the rest of them are sitting at 2.215. Alright, so to make this go quickly, I'm going to visually inspect one more time. Make sure I have powder in every case, and I do. And then I'm just going to hand seat bullets. And I'll go through and seat them all. And I'll probably measure one or two at the end. Even though this collet system right here, you probably can't see it from that camera angle, gets in the way a little bit, I kind of like it, because if it's in there, you know that bullet is going to sit square. .25 rounds loaded up. Now I'm going to grab my cartridge gauge. This may not be necessary. To tell you the truth, I've never seen another reloader really use one of these. But I'm just going to grab a couple random ones throughout here, maybe one in each row, and just check for good chambering. Okay, we're good. They're all just fine. Alright, I suppose the next thing is to shoot them. I do apologize for the dark target camera, which you're about to see right now. But I'm using shoot and see targets, so you should be able to still see okay. I'm running the Thermacell full bore, because it is quite buggy out here. Alright. Using a bag of rice as my backrest. Alright. Gonna take a group here. Oh, I didn't get around in there. There we go. That sounded more positive. I will confess that I'm not the best at shooting ARs yet. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with them. Okay, we're on paper. That's going to be good enough. As we are quickly losing light, I'm going to go down range and move a weed out of the way as my next target. Let's get 5 rounds of this loaded up here, and just for consistency's sake, I'm going to make sure it's all IMI brass, because I do have a couple of Lake City pieces mixed in here, I think. Yeah, we've got 5 rounds. IMI brass. Alright, things are probably getting fuzzy. It's getting dark. I had to actually strap a flashlight to my target camera to get it to pick up on the targets, and it is going to help me see it a little better through the scope as well, since this is not a high quality scope by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, let's see if we can put some rounds on target. Hey, I can see it. I can see it pretty well with that flashlight pointing on the target. My target camera is still going to be pretty dark though, but usable. Pretty sure that landed on target. I pulled that shot. Okay, so I have bench rest, or I do not have bench rest capabilities by any means. But that looks like a pretty good group. We're gonna go downrange and check it out. I'm gonna take the, well, I'll tell you what. Let me check them out, and then I'm probably gonna just take you right to the bench, because it's getting dark. So, yikes. These groups are not the greatest. Maybe if this were 100 yard shooting, honestly, I wouldn't be too upset about these groups, because honestly, like I said, I'm just not that good with the AR yet. Let's take a look at the group size, and it's going to be kind of atrocious. Here's the 62 grain. Oh, I guess it's not as far out there as I thought, but still like 2.3 inches. That's terrible. Here's the 55 grain. Let me look here. Right at an inch. Let me see if this group is any wider. No, about the same. We're looking, whoops, I accidentally bumped the 0 button. But we're looking at right at an inch. Which is, you know, not terrible. I suppose it's not as bad as I thought. That's 2 MOA. I guess I can be okay with that for now. Okay, the reality of it is, no matter what I'm trying to say here in the video, this is just not acceptable. And I don't really think we're going to get all that much better until I can get a hold of some sort of decent optic so that I can tell where I'm holding. I did try this again at 75 yards, stretched it out just a little bit with the 55 grain Bob's bullets, and really we ended up with about the same size group as we did in the target here on the right, which is, I guess, a little bit better group since it's a farther distance, but we're going to have to build a shooting bench. That's going to be a project we're going to get to. So thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's kind of been rambling on about reloading 223, but the reality is, and I wanted it to be this way, that you guys are going through this process with me and learning at the same time I am. As I've gone back over this video through the editing process, I see so many things now that I look back on and think, oh, maybe I should edit that out because I know that that's maybe not the way I would do it now that I've been reloading a little bit longer and have learned a few things. That's just over the last couple of weeks. So I'm constantly learning, constantly trying to find better ways to do things, and I appreciate you guys going on that journey with me.